Welcome back to our second edition of our Austin American-Statesman podcast weekly. This is week one into high school football season, and Danny, right off the bat, you got thrown into the fire, so to speak, last week. You had a pretty memorable game at House Park. You didn't even get back to the office until midnight. Tell us about that.
Well, as I'm sure lots of people out there in Austin know, we had a little bit of weather over the weekend, and they had a 90-minute lightning delay out at House Park. So, when you have those, you don't really get out of the stadium at a reasonable hour. So it was pretty interesting.
And then you had kind of a little bit of an upset. Anderson must have been looking pretty good that night.
Anderson looked pretty fantastic, which we'll get to in a little bit. But they came to play, and they have a legitimate shot, I think, at the playoffs this year.
I was at Wimberley this past weekend, and it's kind of funny because Austin had so much lightning, and Wimberley got very little, almost nothing. They had rain. A big surprise to me was that Giddings beat Wimberley by as far as they did. But anyway, game balls this week. We've got quite a selection to go from. You give me your first game ball. We're going to do two apiece.
All right. Well, while we're on the subject, we'll go back to Anderson High, and my first game ball is going to go to the Anderson offensive line. They rushed for 321 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns against a McCallum team that returned 6 starters on defense from their squad last year, which went 9-2. And most importantly, that McCallum team beat the heck out of them last year by like 40 points. So, some of these runs, they were piling on these 10, 15-yard runs, and a lot of the times, the players weren't being touched until they got into the secondary. So the big uglies up front over at Anderson were, they were opening up pretty big lines. So, and
the Mark Ryland era, as far as coaching at Anderson, off to a good start. I'm going to give my first game ball to Devin Carver. For those of you who don't know him, he introduced himself at Hutto the other day by taking the opening kickoff 100 yards for a touchdown. The second time Hutto got the ball, he ran 66 yards on a running back play. He wound up with 111 yards on the day. But a pretty good start. They were up 14-0 before you could even get your popcorn and everything. But I'm going to give him a game ball. He's a little bit new. I'm going to go with my second game ball while I'm at it here. Lake Travis won a big game, 32-31 over Texas City. They have a receiver by the name of Cade McCreary. I remember that name. 12 catches, 204 yards, 3 touchdowns. And they scored last and won the game. Garrett Gilbert had another sensational game, but we'll get to that later. And your second game ball?
Well, for my second game ball, we're going to go up to Killeen. Quarterback Alajon White. Over the weekend, Friday night, they beat Ellison 42-41 in overtime. White threw for 2 touchdowns in the overtime session. Overall, 4 touchdowns, 270 yards. And, they're in 4A-17. So, with Coppice Cove, Brownswood, and Waco. Waco all in that division. They're going to need performances like that from White every week if they're going to compete. And
right.
He got off to a good start, so we'll see.
It could be the toughest district in the whole state right there. Well, that'll wrap it up for game balls this week, and anyway, pretty good ones, I think. What do you think?
Yep. First weekend. It's a good weekend. Good weekend to start off on.
We'll have a lot more coming after this.